Hey traders, it's James here from the A1 content team, and as we start today's stream, I want to share with you some exciting news from our friends over at FX2 Funding. FX2 has just launched their two-stage evaluation. The two-stage differs significantly from their one-stage, offering many benefits to traders. First of all, the profit targets are much more manageable, with 8% in the first stage and 5% in the second stage. Next, you'll get a 10% fixed overall drawdown that does not trail your account balance. You get all these perks on top of FX2's existing world-class customer service, high-performance technology, and a choice between two amazing trading platforms, CTrader and DXTrade. There's a reason FX2 Funding boasts a Trustpilot rating of 4.7 in this time of industry turmoil. They are a serious company run by seasoned business professionals and always take conservative steps to protect their traders. For traders looking to get funded, you can use promo code A1Trading15 to save 15% on all funded accounts. That's A1Trading15. The promo code can be found in the link in the description below and in the live stream chat right now. Now, on to the show.
All right. Good morning, guys. Welcome back. Another live stream. It is, what is today? Today's Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Hope everyone's doing well. Today, we have some interesting news. We had a couple things happen overnight for where I am in the world. The UK had some volatility. Middle of the night, I believe it was 2 a.m. Eastern, we saw the CPI number come out for the UK. And this is an interesting story because we put up a poll yesterday on our Telegram channels and our YouTubes and, all the different spots. And we asked people, hey, what is the next central bank to cut interest rates? And you guys voted, and the expected next central bank to cut interest rates, according to you guys, is the UK. By the way, if you want to keep up with those polls and things that we're doing, we'll drop the link to the Telegram channel. It is free to join. You can keep up to date with what we're looking at and what we're talking about. We do discussion posts. We have, fireside chats, if you will. We share chart analysis each day. So if you're not already in the Telegram channel, it's free to join. We'll drop the link there. So last night we had the UK and their CPI data come out. And year over year inflation is at 2%. The previous was at 2.3. Forecast was 2%. We saw 2% inflation for the UK. To me, looks pretty likely that we're going to see some rate cuts out of the UK pretty soon. The US is staring with envious eyes at that 2% inflation, or so people would think. But the UK's economy is not as, I guess, strong or growing as the US economy. And so when you look at that and you say, well, they're they're at 2% inflation, that is, beautiful. And in terms of rate cuts, it probably means that we see rate cuts out of the UK and that the pound could see some volatility due to that. But what it also could suggest, and this is what I keep warning people about wanting rate cuts so bad, is that it could suggest that things are starting to look a little slow down for the UK. Does this work? Let's look at this. Yeah. This is a pretty cool chart on the EDGEFINDER. If you have the EDGEFINDER, it's always cool to just, honestly, I could just play around the EDGEFINDER for an hour each day. And to be honest, I do. But GDP growth, check this out. So in terms of GDP growth, the US, let's go back to the US for a second. The US is still experiencing positive growth. We've seen growth. Even if we've missed expectations a little bit recently, it's still positive growth. But what about our UK friends across the pond? Not so much growth, right? Saw some growth May 1st, but then in June 1st, we got 0% GDP growth. So my point with showing you this is that when we look at the economies, comparatively speaking, you're seeing some slowdown. Can we also look at PMI data for the UK? Let's do that. PMI might give us a little clue as to what that's looking like. Well, you have PMI data came out lighter than forecasted here for service for manufacturing, and lighter than expected, actually about as expected for services. So they're still seeing growth. They're services PMI is at 55. I mean, that is growth. Is that bigger than the US? It is. It is. But you have this combination where inflation is coming down. The economy in the let's look at retail sales. I'm curious here. Yeah, look at that. Retail sales have been pretty poor for the UK. So the consumer seems to be feeling the pinch over in the UK. There's been a lot of inflation globally. The UK experienced very high period of inflation. And if we look at that chart, you guys ready for some serious craziness on this chart? Let's see if it works. This one is always the give or take. Inflation data is just, it's a bear of something to try and pull data for, apparently. But look at this. So the UK's inflation, look at this. GBP, dark green, way higher than the US a year ago, and has really come down, right? Really, really come down. The latest one is not yet in, but it will be recorded soon on the EDGEFINDER's automations. So point was showing you this is inflation in the UK seems to be coming down pretty aggressively. Their economy seems to be showing signs of slowing down. And so you combine those two things and you say, well, maybe the dollar looks a little strong when talking about the UK, right? So if we look at the pound against the US dollar, we're kind of in a range-bound market here off the daily chart. So for my currency traders, again, we are sort of range-bound on the pound US dollar. But what about the UK stock market? I just want to take a look at this really quick. The UK stock market has seen a little bit of a pullback. Today's inflation report causing a little bit of optimism. You're up just slightly green on the day. Just thought that was kind of worth mentioning. The dollar index also saw some volatility around 2 a.m. Let's see, 2 a.m. 2 a.m. So at 2 a.m., the dollar actually dropped a little bit because it, suggested here, if we think about it, if the dollar is dropping, then perhaps there will be other central banks who are holding interest rates for longer. Here's the thing about interest rates, right? You can spend a lot of time kind of looking at the dollar in isolation, but the dollar is really priced based on what other central banks are doing too. So if you get the Bank of England looking to cut rates sooner or not so soon, that can change the pricing of the dollar because it's all about relative to its peers. Is the dollar strong or weak based on a interest rate cut thing? The whole theme right now in the financial markets for currencies, especially, is who's going to cut interest rates the fastest and the soonest. We've seen the ECB cut rates. We've seen the Bank of England cut rates. I'm sorry, not the Bank of England, the Bank of Canada. Is the Bank of England next? And is the US going to follow suit closely, or are they going to hold off? There is a bullish case, I think, for the dollar right now, which is the idea that other central banks are looking to cut interest rates and the US is holding steady on not cutting rates, right? At least right now. But yesterday we got retail sales that looked a little lighter. That pushed back on that idea that the US is not going to cut rates because probabilities for rate cuts went up yesterday. How do I know that? We talked about it yesterday. Yields came down. When yields are dropping, the probabilities of rate cuts are higher. That's the quick way to look at it on your charts. Quick look at gold here this morning. Gold on the hourly chart, I drew this up this morning, seems to be consolidating between these highs and lows. I'd be curious if you're a day trader, maybe you get some volatility here today. Please note it is a bank holiday in the US, so there is probably going to be lighter than usual trading volume, but the rest of the world is still trading. Things are still active and prices are still likely, they have the potential to move, but there are no major US news figures here today. So markets are still trading, but US economic data is not out. Again, UK data came out this morning. We still have plenty of other things that are going on to keep an eye on. We have GDP numbers out of the UK, out of New Zealand later today. Should be interesting to keep an eye on. But again, gold from a 1 hour chart perspective is seemingly stuck in this range. I am long gold. I'll go through my trades really quick with you guys if you would like to keep an eye on these with me. So I'll walk through each one. So I am long gold on the daily chart. This is a bit more of a swing trade position for me, but I went long gold some time ago, just holding on to this trade. I think that there is upside for gold based on a couple different things from a also, Nick, do you have the preview for the EDGEFINDER mobile version? I don't have it in front of me, but if you registered for the EDGEFINDER mobile version, please note that is free for EDGEFINDER users. If you're an EDGEFINDER Pro user, we just dropped our mobile version. I should have announced this earlier on in the stream, so apologies for that. If you are a EDGEFINDER user listening to this right now, maybe we could do this really quick. Hold on. Chandler or James, could you just ask? Well, hold on. Let me think. Where do I have that link? Oh, yeah. Chandler or James, in the Telegram and in the Discord announcements, there's a link to apply for the EDGEFINDER mobile version. If one of you guys could grab that link and drop it here in the chat for our EDGEFINDER users, this is a totally free update for EDGEFINDER Pro users. Please note, if you don't have the EDGEFINDER, it is not free. But if you do have the EDGEFINDER, the mobile version has just been dropped. It now works. Had it for 2 years. What? Well, you can use the EDGEFINDER on mobile, but the EDGEFINDER hasn't been optimized for mobile until now. So we just made a mobile version that looks a lot better on your phone. So if you would like to get access to that, we're going to drop that link in just a moment. Stay tuned for that. But existing EDGEFINDER customers or users, check this out. Request your access to the EDGEFINDER's mobile version here now. Just fill out that application. We are doing these manually. This is a manual process for us, so have some patience with us. But within the next day or so, we will probably just keep an eye on your email. Someone from our team will let you know that you've been granted access once we get it set up for you. So again, totally free update. Shout out to our EDGEFINDER supporters. We are continuously trying to make it better for you. It is our number one priority to make the tool truly irresistible. I mean, we're a business. We want to make this software tool so irresistibly good. So for existing EDGEFINDER users, this is a free update just to improve the experience. If you are somebody who is on the go and you want to use it from your phone, you totally can do that now. All right, so I'm going to continue on here. Again, I am long gold. Hasn't made a big move in a couple days. It's really been back and forth. But I am just holding on to my gold position. That is my primary trade right now. It's my biggest position. What about my other positions? I also am long TLT, which is looking really good, by the way. TLT is actually turning into a great trade. This is a position trade for me. This is not a momentum trade. Gold is more of a momentum kind of shorter term swing trade. TLT is a position trade for me inside of the VIP room. I'll show you what that looks like really quick, just so you can see this. So TLT, this is in my position trades category. So this is something that I've held on to for some time. But my thought process here is that I think rate cuts are still on the table this year. And if that is the case, what's going to get us there? Probably some more slowdown in the jobs data, which has been a recent trend. That's why TLT is up. Inflation, if it starts to come down, TLT will benefit greatly from that. So it is a bet. TLT, my position trade here, is a bet in favor of rate cuts coming sooner rather than later. That is the simplest way to bet on rate cuts, in my opinion, is just to be long TLT. So I have that position. What else do I have? So I have, again, like I said, a gold signal here that I've been in. I added to my size recently, just while I've been waiting. I've liked the trade more with some of the, yesterday we had retail sales data. I liked that as a complement to my trade. So I added to my position yesterday, which was, in the very short term looks good, but we'll see how the trade plays out from here. I'm going to stop out on gold if it breaks through the lows. As I mentioned before, these levels here on the 4-hour chart, you may say, well, this looks kind of bearish in terms of the 4-hour chart, which I would agree. I think we have some bearishness around this area and this downward trend line, these lower highs. But why am I still long anyways? Because again, I'm kind of referencing the daily chart here and the fundamentals. Off the daily chart, we have a really strong level of support here. Yes, you've had this kind of recent lower highs coming into this market, but I don't take that as, oh, that's just a huge bearish signal. Could it be? It could be. But that's not what I base my trades off of. I don't base my entire, my entire trade based off of, well, we've put in a couple lower highs, because a couple lower highs could just be consolidation, right? I think we're in a consolidation period for gold. There's probably not a lot of controversy with saying that. We are, pausing. Whether we're pausing before a move higher or lower, that's where the debate would come in. But for me, we've got jobs data slowing down. We've got a Fed that does want to cut in the end, I think, cut interest rates, right? Cut the borrowing costs lower to keep things intact. I think they want to do that. It is an election year. There's volatility. There's geopolitics happening all over the world that could at any moment escalate. And if that happens, fear comes into the market. Gold could go higher. So there's a number of kind of shots on goal, if you will, for gold, right? There's a number of opportunities here where I think gold could push higher. And I think the probabilities of this support level holding are higher than it breaking. That does not mean, and let me reiterate over and over with this on gold, a lot of times people will hear me talk about how I am bullish on gold. And if this thing were to tank, I already know I'm going to get, a bunch of comments. Nick, you thought it was going to go up. You're wrong. You're a dummy. And I'll be right there with you. I was wrong. I was a dummy if I get stopped out, because it can happen, right? It doesn't matter how convicted you are about something. You can still be wrong. That being said, I think the probability is that we push higher on gold overall here. And again, if I'm wrong, I'll pay for it. I've got a stop loss in my trade. So if we do round out here, if we find support around these areas, which I think we might be trying to carve out, bottoming out on this, I think the upside here is pretty good. I think we have a move back to the potential highs in the next few months. Might not be right away. It might be quick. It might not be quick. But right now, I'm willing to sit through this consolidation because I think the overall story for gold is higher. And again, if I'm wrong, I will pay for it. That's how trading goes, right? So gold TLT is another trade that I'm long on, as I mentioned. And then I also have a USD CHF short position that I'm still in. We trailed stops on this inside of the signals room yesterday. So I'll show you that as well. So again, gold updates throughout the week. And then also on my FX side of things, I shorted USD CHF and I locked in stop loss on this one yesterday. So that is my 3 positions currently, my current active positions. Oh, well, I do have the S&P 500 longs and my XLK long positions. Those are going, well, I'll show them to you. Before I do that, let me just quickly make a quick plug here for our VIP room. We're doing a 50% off discount sale this week for the Discord room. If you'd like to come trade alongside myself and the team, if you want to get the trade notifications whenever we take positions, currently we have our biggest sale of the year going on right now. And let me give you the details, okay? It is currently 50% off, but if you're watching with us right now on the live stream, we're going to do 55%. Okay, this is quite literally the biggest discount we do all year long for the VIP service. If you'd like to come join us, here's a couple things that you get inside of the group. You get access to all the trades being shared by myself, by Frank, by Ivan. We share our positions, right? And updates and what we're doing on live brokerage accounts. No nonsense. That's number one. You also get access to, of course, our chat rooms. You can chat with all the other many people who watch the YouTube videos are also in the chat rooms and discussing ideas and charts and things like that. You can see, people are constantly sharing their ideas and lessons learned and things like that. So you can join the chat room. We also have a strategy guide section where you can go through our strategies, which have been written out for you. We also have coaching webinars throughout the week. So it is a service to seriously consider, especially with our discount that we're doing right now. Like I said, it is for stream viewers who are watching with us right now, 55% off. How do you get it? Click this link right now, send a direct message to our staff, and you can speak with someone on our team about getting access to the membership group for 55% off any of our memberships. It is the biggest discount of the year. Again, you can get a monthly membership, a yearly, or the one-time fee, so you don't have to pay ever again. You just join the group and you're part of the team. So if you're not in there, take advantage. Again, that is, I know I'm pushing hard for it, but it's because it is the biggest event of the year for VIP memberships. So don't miss it. Can you pay monthly? Yes, you can. Just shoot us a message. We'll get that sorted out for you. Link is in the chat right now. If you're watching back at a later time, you can also use the first link in the description down below. Okay, so let's see what else we've got. Again, gold kind of flat on the day, silver flat on the day. Oil's trying to potentially break out here, and yields came down overnight, which is kind of in favor of some of my positions. Yields falling is good for my TLT trade and for gold as well. USD CHF. What do I want to do with dollar Swiss? Dollar Swiss. What I'm looking for here on this one is if it does continue to, we've broken this level here. This breakout was enough for me to go ahead and put my stop loss trailed into profit. And yeah, so next goal from here would be if you get some sort of lower high, like if you get something like this, I could then trail my stop loss further and ideally further, but we will have to see. So right now I'm just letting this trade play out. I do like USD CHF to the downside. That was one off the EDGEFINDER. And it is still there, USD CHF. Gold still getting a very bullish reading. I still really like the trade there. And this is your current readings. You've got the Russell still coming in bearish again. So yeah, I like the setups here. Again, I've got 3 off the EDGEFINDER right now, my USD CHF, gold, and my TLT position. Yearly once pay. You believer trader, just shoot us a message. Again, you can ask all your questions, prices, pay monthly. If that's something that you're interested in getting set up with, I've got a couple people, real staff members who can help you out with the membership. Again, just use that link. It's been dropped in the chat for you. Just speak with them and they can sort out any of your logistical questions. Could you look at the NASDAQ? Sure, I can. The NASDAQ is going to trigger me because it never, ever goes down. And I'm being completely, I'm joking, because please understand, it can never go down right now because things have been so bullish for the NASDAQ recently. But I always make this warning because during these times, people get really, really, so many people make mistakes during these times, right? They make the mistake of thinking that this is how the NASDAQ is always going to behave. And it is not. It is a very, very volatile chart to trade, because if you're trading the NASDAQ, if during this time you thought the NASDAQ only ever goes up, well, you would have been in for a rough pullback. And this is not even, this is a kiddie pool pullback compared to what we saw in 2022 and even, more. There's a nice, 11% pullback, 12%. But if you were playing around thinking that the NASDAQ never goes down, just don't let don't let recency bias put you in a really bad spot. Imagine for a second you're in this environment. You say, look at this thing. Every single day, it just goes up. And psychologically, what does that do to people? Psychologically, this makes people just think this thing is indestructible and never, ever fails. And over the very long time horizons, yeah, the NASDAQ's done great. It's done phenomenal. But to think that this can't change, imagine if you're like, oh, this thing just never goes down. I just got to shut up and buy it. Imagine if you had done that. Let's just say that you bought right here, okay? You're like, you know what? It never goes down, and I'm buying. Imagine you would have felt good right here, but imagine what would have happened if you just, you could have FOMO'd in, and in the short term, you might have looked really good. But then you would have held on to a terrible, terrible entry. And this would have taken you, if you had bought in our randomly selected spot there, 705 days to get back to break even if you were holding the NASDAQ, right? So you have to understand, yes, it's very bullish right now, but that can change, and you have to be ready for that to change. So, that's the thing with it. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to be joined by Miko for some chart analysis. We're going to be taking a look at some different currency pairs and what's going on in the markets today. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with Miko just after this.
Attention A1 Trading Show fans. If you're interested in getting free access to the Edge Finder or our premium trade alerts, listen up. For a limited time, our show's partnered broker Eightcap is giving out free access to our products when you sign up for a new trading account with them. If you already have a broker, you may want to consider switching to Eightcap because of their low trading costs, a wide range of trading assets, and their amazing customer support. If you'd like to get access to our software and Discord server for free, click the link being dropped in the chat right now and ask one of our team members for more information. Don't miss your chance for free products and an award-winning broker. Now, back to the A1 Trading Show.
All right, we're back with Miko. What's going on, man? How's it going? And welcome back to the show.
Thank you. It's going well. How are you, Nick?
I'm good. And Miko, we've got today is a bank holiday in the U.S. So for people who are wondering why the U.S. stock market is not open, the U.S. stock market is not open today, but FX, futures, a lot of other markets are still making moves today. So I just wanted to clear that up because we had some questions about it. Miko, so last night we had the UK, their inflation figure came out, their CPI number came out. There's been some volatility on the US dollar, on the pound USD. The euro's been making some moves lower recently. Dollar yen doing its thing back up to a level of resistance. I'm curious what your thought is on the currency world right now, whether it's the dollar index, whatever you're looking at. I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, we have seen a bit of movement. I haven't been too happy with price action on a few dollar pairs, to be honest, but I'm still pretty bullish on the DXY, pretty much purely from a technical standpoint. I'm liking the price action on the daily chart and the 4-hour. There's somewhat of bullish structure here, and essentially I'm looking for price to continue that movement and push back to the highs, maybe back to 107 as well. So I do see a lot of upside potential on the dollar. So in that circumstance, I'm looking to short pairs like Euro USD, Pound USD. Pound USD I'll get into in a moment, but Euro for me kind of looks the best right now. We've seen some downsides from last week, and essentially I'm looking at this being a pullback to find a low high somewhere, and I'm looking to take it down. An area which I am looking at a lot is some support over here, which hopefully will be term resistance. I can try and find that next swing high in the market. So Euro USD does definitely pique my interest. Pound USD, I like it as well, but it's kind of a bit more sideways than Euro. Euro's got a bit of a bearish trend to it. Pound USD's been sideways. So if we can see price break lower, that'll be fantastic. And then I will be looking for some shorts to the downside, but I'm pretty much looking at opportunities that do favor dollar strength apart from silver, because silver for me still looks really, really good in terms of the market structure. I know if dollar's strong, you don't necessarily expect silver to go up, but sometimes that correlation does go out the window a little bit. So I'll bite the bullet with this one, but I'm still looking to buy silver. It was the top of my watch list last week, didn't really set up. So I'm looking for opportunities. It's kind of not really sitting well at that level. So I'm keeping a close eye, but I'm definitely getting ready for some longs with this one.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, Miko, because you mentioned some dollar bullishness, and I've kind of been confused by this too, because both from a technical and a fundamental perspective, I could see a bounce on the dollar index. From a technical one, we've just had this nice breakout, as you mentioned. We're pulled back into this 105 kind of area. It's not the cleanest chart in the world, but it was a breakout, right? You had this consolidation zone. We broke out here with some wicks off the top. Makes me a little nervous, but you may have room to kind of go back and retest those highs on the dollar index. So I can kind of see that perspective. I was going to ask you your thoughts on gold and silver in respect to that, because again, a stronger dollar most of the time, not always, can lead to the metals going down, and a weaker dollar can lead to them going up. What are your thoughts on gold? Are you bearish, neutral, or potentially bullish on gold? I know you mentioned silver, but I'm curious on gold as well.
So yeah, gold, I'm still very bullish on gold. I'm actually just as bullish on silver as I am on gold. Just the technicals don't look as good, so that's why I'm focusing on silver a lot more. Gold, I think higher time frames like daily, weekly still look really, really bullish. So we had a really exceptional breakout. This to me just looks like a pause in the market, and I won't be too surprised after after a while we could be seeing something like this. So I like the buys high time frames, but like the 4 hour, which is kind of where I spend most of my time. We've seen some really heavy moves down, and we've kind of been a bit flat recently as well. For me, this is really, really strong support back down at 22.80. So in my opinion, as long as we kind of above that, I'm still really bullish for gold. So as long as we don't break through this level, I think there's still a lot of room to the upside. But silver just a little bit cleaner in terms of that trend, really confident breakout higher, and quite a nice corrective pullback. So it looks a bit cleaner to trade. That's why I'm looking at silver. But yeah, still bullish from gold, just not as interested in the price action.
Sure. Well, in silver again, man, we looked at that chart last week and it was coming down to this almost perfect level here. I've got it on my screen, like this, just perfect. This was when we were right around when we were talking about it. And again, hard to beat a better chart markup in my opinion here. You got the daily chart, nice upward trend, higher lows, higher highs. It is consolidating at a level of support. And I think that, Miko, the question here for a lot of people would be, okay, so we spoke about this idea a week ago and it hasn't jumped off this level. Is that a concern? But for me, the answer is no, because I'm very willing to sit through consolidation as long as we're still like holding a key level, which kind of goes right in line with my current position on gold. I've been sitting in this consolidation zone for over a week now, just waiting on gold to make a decision. If we break these lows, I'll be out of the trade. But I really think that, this just goes to show you can be really patient and still get a decent entry off of like a bigger idea. I mean, I imagine that if you were like trying to get fancy with this, I had a hourly chart markup, like you could be looking for this sort of thing, like a flag pattern breakout, that sort of thing, if you want to get fancy. But for me as a longer term swing trader, or like, at least 1 to 7 to 14 days, just kind of depends on the setup. I still like the idea of just holding on to gold, letting it do its thing, and seeing where it wants to break. One last question. I kind of like doing this experiment. For gold, what price action signals would get you to be bearish or to give up the bullish idea? I'd like to just get your thoughts on that as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. So yeah, with myself, I'm very focused on market structure. So I like my higher highs and higher lows, and if that gets invalidated and price breaks that, then that will then make me bearish. So this being our last, actually, let me go to the daily charts a bit clearer. This being our last low, which gave us our last high, just about, we just pinched that one. If price was to go and break through this, that would make me quote unquote bearish. Now, I'm a little bit, don't know what the word is. I'm giving gold a bit more room in terms of technically I would be bearish because we're breaking structure, but because gold being gold and this is such a massive breakout, I wouldn't be surprised if we're just going to break structure a little bit and then later go bullish. So even if we do break structure, I wouldn't really be looking to short gold really anyway. If it's a normal currency pair, then I would, but gold in these conditions, I wouldn't. But yeah, if that structure does break, that would definitely make me take a backseat on gold.
Yeah, that's kind of exactly where I am too with it. I have my my stop loss right below this low, because if that gets taken out, to me, that's just not enough follow through from this level. I would like to see from here gold continue to round off. At this point, we have had consolidation for some time, and I'm willing to sit through that consolidation, but I'm not willing to watch that consolidation not lead to a bullish breakout. Like it's got to move from here. Otherwise, this is my line in the sand. And to your point, I'm fundamentally a little bit too bullish to short gold. However, I could imagine that if the sellers took control at this 2300 level, meaning they break through support levels, gold, in my view, could be making a push all the way back down to like 2180. And just for a quick note for viewers who are more on the fundamental side, I've made my point clear on this. I think that what would get you there is if they stop talking about rate cuts and that gets pushed out to 2025. I think you lose the hope for a weaker dollar, and the dollar gets real strong, and then probably gold would go down to this level. So I don't think that's personally going to happen. I'm positioned for rate cuts this year. If I'm wrong about that, again, I'll pay the price, and that's the purpose of a stop loss. So that is kind of the thesis there. What else are you watching, Miko? You talked about the euro, talked about, well, actually, did we talk about the pound? I'm curious if you, what your thoughts are on that one again. If you did already, I apologize. I'm forgetting.
No worries. Yeah, with pound USD, I said it's just kind of like a big consolidation, really.
Yep.
And compared to Euro USD, I like the price action more on Euro, and I'm looking to short that one. Similar situation to like silver and gold. Silver looking a lot more trendy, if that's the right word. So that's why I'm liking silver a lot more. Same situation here with Euro and pound. So pound USD, I am looking for some downside. So I'm waiting to see if we can break out the consolidation lower, and then I'm looking at a retest of this area for some shorts. I wouldn't mind if it does break to the upside. For me, this is a really powerful level resistance. If that does break, I will look to change my bias and look for buying opportunities above it. Essentially, I just want price to clear this mess here, and then I'm looking at opportunities above or below. I don't want to trade inside a range. I want momentum, and we're not really seeing that for pound. So if it does break higher, I'm interested above 1.28. If it does break lower, 1.27, we'll call it, if it break lower through that support, then I'll be looking at retest to short.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. I just asked that because, again, this morning we had that the inflation figure out of the UK came in as expected at 2%. And what's kind of driving these, what could cause, I should say, some more interesting currency moves going forward is, now that central banks are starting to talk about cutting rates, what is interesting is that if you were to get the divergence where the UK is cutting rates, the ECB is cutting rates, Bank of Canada, but the US does not cut rates, we could see a resurgence in the dollar, like a bigger push to the upside for the dollar. And I don't know if you remember what 2022 was like, Miko, for trading, but for me, I remember it very clearly as the year that the dollar just went up every day. It was just everything else went down. The dollar was rising every day. And it was because the Fed was cutting rates at a rapid pace, and other central banks were seeing inflation rise but couldn't match the pace of the Fed. It created, long story short, beautiful technical moves that came out of the divergences in central banks. At the end of the day, for currency traders, even if you're not, fundamentalist in nature, understanding that central banks diverging from one another is what creates massive trends, like we saw in 2022 and so on. It can be a very interesting thing to look out for. And I think that we could see something like that if other central banks are cutting rates quickly. So we'll watch for a lot of the same triggers that you mentioned. Miko, is like if you see the dollar break out of this key level, or you see the pound break decisively one way or the other, those are clues that, maybe you're seeing a shift in the dynamic of the market from this choppiness that we've been watching into more of a, trendy market. And again, so, yep, worth at least keeping an eye on for anyone out there. Also, next one I wanted to ask you here, last one I guess, is your thoughts on the S&P 500, because man, this thing just keeps going up every single day. I think as you were joining today, I was talking about this, but I want to get your thoughts as well. If you're on the sidelines, I know a lot of people are, myself included. I would like to be a buyer. What are your thoughts, and what are your, I guess, how would you approach this market when it's just making new highs every day?
Yeah, I don't trade the indices, but if, let's say, an FX pair was moving like this, I would just be looking at pullbacks. I'll be looking at pullbacks, retesting price structure, and just keep flowing with the condition of the market, because we're not going to stay like this forever. But at the moment, we are flying, and we're just seeing price consolidate for a couple of days, and it breaks out, and we've seen that pattern kind of 3 or 4 times now. So I would be looking at some pullbacks for this one. It does look like price is running up momentum a little bit. You see candles again a little bit smaller now. So it does look like we could be coming up to a point of retracement. And we've got a few levels here which we haven't retested yet. So for me, those are looking very, very attractive in terms of looking for buying opportunities. If we can come there, see some nice rejection, that will be a really nice entry signal. And I'll be looking to try and take it back to the swing high. That would be my plan in general.
Well, I like it. Well, thanks for doing all that, Miko, coming on and going through all these charts for kind of a mini segment. And again, I know we've been doing these kind of more. Well, we're trying to just get people who want to come on the show more often, the availability to do so. So thank you for coming on today. I know this is like a bonus round for you. So let me just say, as everybody who's listening here, make sure to go subscribe to Miko. He has his own YouTube channel. He puts out some great content, totally free value there for you. And do us a favor, go subscribe to Miko. It helps to support what we're trying to do here, bringing on guests and rewarding them for helping out to make this show better. Miko, thanks for coming on the show, man. And we will see you next time.
Thank you. See ya.
See ya. All right, guys, we're going to transition now to our next show host. We've got Kenzo coming on to hang out with us for a little bit. So stay tuned. We will be bringing on Kenzo for some fundamentals and chart analysis starting in just a second. Stay tuned. If you're looking to add fundamental analysis to your trading, then look no further than our software tool, the EDGEFINDER. The EDGEFINDER allows traders to approach the markets by simplifying fundamental analysis into simple scoring systems. We look at economic data, technical readings, as well as sentiment analysis like the commitment of traders data to help traders spot potential opportunities in the markets through the use of data. Our tools allow traders to find top setups each and every day from the top setups page. You can also browse the latest institutional money flow through the commitment of traders data report that we've generated to make it very easy to read. And on this report, you can see everything from the latest overall net positionings, as well as the week-to-week buys and sells from institutional money. The EDGEFINDER also has a retail positioning tool, which allows you to see what the crowd is thinking about your favorite charts, symbols, both currencies, commodities, and indices. You can also check out the latest seasonal trends, month to month, week of the year, and much more to spot potential opportunities coming up in the future. The EDGEFINDER also makes economic data much more easy to read, like our GDP charts, our retail sales numbers, PMI data. We can also check out the jobs data, unemployment claims, and so much more. At the touch of a button, you can check out the latest reports from the economic data that moves the markets. Right now in the live stream chat, we'll be dropping a link where you can speak directly to a team member about getting yourself set up with a copy of the EDGEFINDER today, and we'll give you a nice live stream discount. Click that link and chat with the rep to find out what kind of discounts are going on right now. Now back to the stream. All right, and we're back with Kenzo. Hey Kenzo, how's it going, man? Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks, man.
Good to have you back on. And again, a bank holiday today, but still some market volatility. A bank holiday for the US, but other places still very much alive. We saw some inflation data out of the UK. We had CPI come out at 2%. And it got me thinking, as we take a look at the US dollar here, we have the UK now seeing 2% inflation. That is their target, just like it is the Fed's target. Are we going to start seeing some rate cuts out of the UK? And if all these other central banks are cutting rates, we've already seen it from the Bank of Canada. We've already seen it from the ECB. They're starting to cut rates. But at the same time, the US has pushed back on rate cuts, saying that inflation is not quite there yet and still patiently waiting and staying data dependent. Does that create a dollar bullish environment, or is this just too choppy and indecisive? What are your thoughts on the dollar today?
Yeah, on that, it's actually true. At the moment, since they actually staying away from cutting the rates, that makes the dollar to be quite stronger. But what I've seen this month, actually, US events, they were a little bit going down, which is something that is very good. I think yesterday we had retail sales where they were much cooler. So that is actually a very good thing. And if those economic news they continue like that, I think maybe they might change their tone on the next meeting or the next session. I think on that we might see maybe a change of a statement. Maybe they will say they see a rate cut coming sooner, because I don't think maybe they will have any choice if maybe inflation is aggressively going down, and with whatever that we have received at the moment.
That's a good point because, again, we did see retail sales numbers yesterday come out lighter than expected. In the last unemployment claims data, we've seen claims on the rise. Again, the latest one was higher than expected. Actually, the last two were higher than expected on the unemployment claims. We see job openings starting to materially trend lower. So you are seeing some signs that the U.S. economy is also starting to roll over a little bit. Doesn't mean it's necessarily crashing or anything like that, but it is pulling back here. And that pullback in the economy could lead to the green light to cut rates as long as inflation does continue to make some sort of progress. That's the other kind of side portion to that. So yeah, I see what you're saying there, because you've got the dollar index giving back some gains the last 4 days. We did have that big pop up, but long wicks off of the top here. And Kenzo, if you'd like to share your screen, I'd be curious to see what your charts look like in terms of the dollar, and maybe we can also talk gold and talk about indices as well.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, on my DXY, I already shared the screen. So yeah, we can easily see that on DXY, the market was trying to go up, but it's not really surprising because it was because of FOMC. Their statement was kind of bullish on the dollar, but it seems like since we had like retail sales, I think it's starting to cool off. Maybe the market might even maybe reach this support area. That will be good if that happens, or maybe we can go to this lowest level. But I think it might take time. It might be quite slower for the market to reach that level, because most likely people, they care much about statements from Fed Powell, for Federal Reserve, especially about rate cuts. But for the market to reverse from that, I think it might take quite long. But from what we have, I think it's much better to say we've seen some cool offs, and even the DXY is showing us that it might be quite slower, but I think slowly we are going there.
Yeah, and again, I think the trigger there too, from the price actions perspective of the dollar index, is, you're right, that zone you've got drawn in green where price is currently sitting. If it breaks that level, I see what you're saying about potentially heading down to your trend line there, heading down lower. This level of support, I think, is really key for the dollar to hold. If the bulls are going to make a move here, you've had kind of a recent push higher. If it fizzles out and fails out here, the dollar very quickly could head back down to like that 104 level, that 103.5 level that you've got drawn on your chart as well. So we'll have to keep an eye on the dollar. I lean more on the bearish side, because I think that, again, economic data has been coming in lighter than expected for the U.S. So I don't think the U.S. is just going to be completely immune to the same effects that other central banks are feeling, right? That inflation period is starting to show up in the economic data, and I think that the Fed's going to see and feel that as well, and that could keep the dollar limited to the upside. I think a lot of people really think the dollar is going to just scream higher in the next 12 months, and I don't really think that. I think it's going to be the opposite. I think the dollar is going to perhaps trend lower for a while, and so I think the first step to that is to break back underneath that level of support and potentially make its way back down to the 104 level. I think another really big signal for the dollar would be, if you do get what I'm talking about there, a push and a break under 104 would be very critical to continuing kind of a downward trend on the dollar. Is that a level that you've got? Well, I saw it on your chart as well. You've got that 103.5 to 104 level marked on your chart, I believe.
Yes, and also beside our only technical analysis there, also the events that we got a few days ago, they were all going in the right direction that we want. We saw CPI going down. We saw other major economies, as you said, Canada and Europe, they already did cut their rates. So we left with Britain, and I did not really check what's really happening with Britain. But at the end of the day, that pressure is going to mount. I think maybe on the next session that we're going to have on Federal Reserve, one way or another, they will try to cut the rate. I think they have pressure. They are on pressure. But this time, I don't think they will just leave the rates like that. They will try to cut, because at the moment, it puts the US on the spotlight, because other major economies, they already did cut their rates. So I think I don't actually think that the dollar is going to continue going higher like that. So in the long run, I'm also expecting to see a nice reversal. Maybe the market will actually try to create something like that.
Sure. And I guess to follow up with that question, Kenzo, so you think that the dollar has room to the downside? I'm kind of on the same page with you there, because I am personally long gold right now. I'm curious on gold, what your thoughts are. Now, before you share, I'll just give you my chart breakdown very quickly. On the 4-hour chart, I think it looks kind of consolidation, or even maybe short-term kind of, it's been in this bearish trend. But on the daily chart, I still really like the longer term kind of big impulsive move that we started this year with. We've consolidated. I think that there's a good chance personally that we are going to go sideways here for a little bit, but that the end result this year will be gold higher than where it currently sits. That would be my opinion. I could be right about that. I could be wrong about that. But my general thinking is that if we're going to see rate cuts this year, if we're going to see the labor market continue to slow down a little bit, and maybe geopolitics flare up at some point or another with an election year, I think that there's just more things that point me to stay bullish on gold than bearish, especially when we just got done talking about the prospects of maybe a more bearish dollar. Are you thinking the same, or what are your thoughts on gold?
Yeah, on my side, I'm actually bullish. I'm siding with the daily time frame trend. On my side, I still believe that we're still going to have something like that. I think this structure is actually a sort of a repetition. We also had quite similar move around this level. The market did consolidate for quite some time. And I think even here, we're going to have quite similar moves before maybe we see another push. Especially now, it's not really surprising, because if you checked FOMC, the time they saying that, oh, they might cut once and stuff like that, we were expecting to see an aggressive sell on gold, but that did not really happen, to show that actually gold is still very, very, very stronger. And after that, now the news are starting to cool off. That is actually good for gold also. So which means we might start to see some nice reversal. So from here, if I can go maybe on a smaller time frame, I think it gives me an idea that a continuation is there. Maybe we don't really have something that can push the market at the moment, but I'm expecting to see a nice upside. Yes, around this level, we did have something like that, quite similar to what might actually happen around this level. And we also have that resistance. Maybe after that, we will see a breakout. So I'm still bullish, unless if maybe the market breaks out of this support area, then I can change my mind. But at the moment, yes, the overall structure is still bullish, but maybe on a 4 hours time frame, it's like the market is coming from this smaller uptrend. We had a breakout. It's like it's a smaller downtrend, but on a bigger time frame, it's still on an overall bullish structure.
Yep. Yeah, I think I was having the conversation with Miko just before you joined, Kenzo, and we were talking about how sometimes it's just okay to sit through consolidation. And I think Miko is more of a technical trader, but you and I with the fundamentals as well kind of know that even if the fundamentals are pointing bullish or bearish, it can take time for that to show up on the chart. And sometimes it's just waiting it out. For me, I've made this point many times recently, but I asked Miko this question. I'll ask it to you as well. My thought is that if we break these lows, then I change my mind. Like my thought process is, if we break the 2300 level again, from here with a strong candle lower, in the short term, I'm going to give it up. I'm going to walk away from this idea. But as long as we hold this level and continue to push higher, I'll continue staying in the trade for as long as I can. I'll just trail a stop really, really loosely on this position. But what are your thoughts on gold? What would either fundamentally or technically get you to be bearish on gold rather than bullish? What would change your mind?
On gold, I think on the next, I will actually track the next coming events, and
Mm.
and if maybe they lean towards higher rates, higher inflation, then maybe I can change my mind, because that will keep higher rates for longer, because they're not going to cut the rates. But besides that, I think we have a solid structure. If beside the news, this is a solid structure. So if the market breaks this area or offers support, yes, I will. It's obvious a breakout from a bigger, from a very stronger structure. So obviously, I will try to change my mind. But if maybe, as we saw the news or events that we received, if they continue like that, I will be positive that we are still going to see maybe gold going up, because slowly the tone that they're going to use on their meetings, I think slowly they're going to mention that the inflation is going down, and that is good for gold, you see. So
Yep.
I think that is something that we can also check. Another thing maybe that makes gold to stick around like this, some tensions all over the that we had a few months ago, I think they're starting to cool off. So that's why maybe it's not really pushing that much. But from US side, as long as inflation is going to continue going down, that it's a good sign for gold to still go even higher.
Sure. Sure. Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that. And we will just have to continue to watch gold to see if it can, find support and finally start making a move. And, it's always a little bit more exciting when the markets are breaking out and making strong moves. But sometimes as traders, we just have to wait. Sometimes you just have to, take your time with it and let the move play out. Kenzo, if you're comfortable with it, I might leave you just for 10 minutes to go through the chat and do some of your own charting. And then I'll come back and join you. Is that okay?
Yes, that it's okay. It's okay, man.
Okay, awesome. Well, you've got the show for a few minutes, guys. I'll be back in just a minute. I'm going to let Kenzo have the show for a few minutes and go through some charts. If you guys have chart requests, please feel free to drop them in the chat. And also, if you have not already subscribed to Kenzo's YouTube channel, his link is in the chat right now. Extra Hot Forex on YouTube. You can find him there for more free analysis and market tips and tricks. So, Kenzo, you've got it for a little bit. I'll be back in just a few minutes.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I hope you are doing great, guys. Let me take over. So, as you know, let me know which pairs do you want me to check, and then we can talk about them. Let me just start with I see CHFJPY. It's weird, not much interest gap. What's cooking there? All-time highs every day sometimes. Okay. AUD and NZD thoughts. The rally, it's huge. Okay, Euro USD. Let me start with Euro USD, then I will go on this other pairs. I see US oil also. Okay, so let's start with Euro USD. Or just because we are already on DXY, let's start here and see what we can actually get from dollar index. So for those who don't know, actually dollar index, it measures the strength of the dollar, whether it's weak or positive. Most likely we are going to see it here on DXY. So at the moment, we can easily see that, yes, we can see that the dollar actually went a little bit higher because of the economic news that we had a few days ago. So we were expecting a nice reversal yesterday when we saw retail sales where they were actually negative. So, but the market is still playing around. And with this playing around here, it makes the pairs that are going with the dollar to mostly consolidate, because you can see that the market seems to be consolidating around this level. So we don't really have an aggressive move. So it means even other pairs which are going with the dollar, they might not be moving that much. So you should understand that. And as Nick said, there are those weeks where you just need to just stay out of the market. There are those days where the market is not really moving very nice, and it's good time for us to just take a break, stay out of the market. Yes, you can still do your analysis, but sometimes you are not just forced to be trading non-stop, you see, because at the end of the day, the market might not be respecting our overall structures because there are so many effects, positive or negative effects from the news or geopolitics. So Euro USD. Let me see what's really happening on Euro USD. I see US oil there. I will go there. Euro USD, what's really happening? On a Euro USD, actually, on a bigger time frame, like a daily time frame, we can see that the market is actually going down. Or let me just use a bigger time frame, bigger structure like that. So we can see that with my structure here, we have a very nice trending structure. We see the market going down, up, down. So now, obviously, we expect the market to continue going down. Why? Because USD, it's actually quite strong at the moment. So as Europe actually did cut their rates, so that it makes them to be quite weaker, especially when the dollar did not really cut their rate. So at the moment, I'm expecting a continuation of the sell. So maybe the market might be creating something like that. But at the moment, the market is not creating a clearer structure, but I think that can be something that we can try to follow. You see that? The market is already going down. We reached this level of a resistance, then the market is actually going down. So I hope maybe that actually helped. I see US oil. I'm trying to be as quick as possible. US oil, what's really happening on US oil? US oil seems to be trying to go higher, guys. US oil is trying to go higher. So, but you can see that we are actually coming from a nice downtrend structure. So this is a very nice downtrend structure. The market was going down for quite some time. We have a nice breakout here. But even though we had a nice breakout, we have an area that we can call a nice resistance. So once the market breaks out of that structure, I think that can be a very good buy. I think this can actually work in our favor, something like that. Do you see that? So I think that can actually be a good buy from that. Let me just do it like this. So yeah, it shows that oil prices are slowly going up. We saw the breakout from this area. So from here, I'm expecting a continuation of that buy. But just because the market just broke out, know that the market might just reverse anytime soon. But mostly, the market won't just move straight up. So the market might actually start to create or form this new trend that we're going to have, because as the market broke out of this downtrend, it means that it's starting to create a new uptrend structure. So it means that new uptrend structure, we're going to have higher highs, higher lows. Maybe the market will come here, retest around this level, but just know that the market is not going to go straight up. Yes, we are on that nice bullish move. Once the market breaks out of that, we can have a nice buy. But just know that there is a chance for the market to reverse before continuing like that. We saw it from here. The market doesn't just go straight up. It goes up, down, right? So GBP CHF. Okay. Let me check GBP CHF. I hope I will actually see GBP. Let's see. I hope I have GBP CHF. GBP CHF. Where is that GBP? Or let me just go on something that I see. I will continue with the other ones. Someone said, I have a sell bias on Euro USD. I also see the same thing. Euro CHF. Okay. Whoa, Euro CHF. Let's see this one. Euro CHF. So on Euro CHF, I think we had something like this, but I don't really follow Euro CHF that much. But maybe this sell comes after we saw the rates cut from from Europe. Maybe that is the reason. Because that makes Europe to be weaker against the CHF or Swiss franc. But I don't really know much about Swiss franc, if maybe their rates are higher or lower. No, not rates. Sorry, I think Europe and Swiss, Euro and Swiss franc. Obviously, their their rates are quite different. Maybe that is the reason behind that. So, but we will see on this structure. To me, it shows us that we are on an aggressive sell structure. So obviously the market might not really continue like that. Expect a nice reversal that we can use to continue selling. So unfortunately, I don't really follow much of Swiss franc, but if you trade this, you should know what's really happening with that. It shows that Swiss franc is quite stronger, or CHF. So I think we see something like that. Around this area, the market did retest very nice. You see that. Then the market did give us this nice reversal. So I'm expecting maybe a nice reversal before maybe the market continues to go even lower. So GBP CHF, I will check that. Obviously, CHF, it's actually going down. Let me see USD CHF. Let's try, guys. I'm just trying to check a random pairs that you're saying I should check. So CHF still shows us that it's quite stronger against the dollar. So let's just go on a daily time frame because this pairs, they actually have longer swings. So which means their charts cannot, sometimes they don't really fit very well on the chart or on the screen. So this is what I see on a daily time frame. I think on a daily time frame is quite clean, so we can easily see that this structure is actually a very nice or aggressive downtrend structure. We had a breakout, then the market did actually give us a ranging structure here, but when we check, it was the same area that we had as a resistance, and the market respected that. So now the market is back on our downtrend structure. I'm expecting a continuation of that sell. So yeah, you can see the market already started selling. So which means this can be a very nice downtrend structure. So, and it can be a very long or swing trade, because I think the market might actually reach around this level before we see a proper reversal. So this can be a very nice downtrend structure if you continue with that. So GU, let's see, GBP USD. Let's try, guys. Just know that I'm not going to cover everything. GBP USD, where is GBP USD? I'll also go on gold. Okay. So on GBP USD, we are coming from a very nice downtrend structure. So this is what we had previously. So you can see that now we're expecting the market to continue to go to the upside. So remember, we had something like that as a downtrend structure. So after the breakout, it shows us that we should expect a very nice continuation of that uptrend structure. Yes, sometimes the market might not really move very nice because there are some economic news here and there. But with this structure, I think we might start to see a nice continuation of that bullish move. So if you checked, I think GBP did not really cut their rates. So which means it's going to be quite stronger against the dollar. And after we getting or after we coming from this downtrend structure, obviously we might start to see the market trying to go to the upside. But at the moment, it seems to be ranging. But previously, we had something like that. So the market just broke out of that. It seems like it's going to continue with that uptrend again. So yeah, I think for that, I couldn't cover everything, but I think it's better than nothing. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem at all, Kenzo. And again, just for everybody who's listening, if you'd like to find out more information from Kenzo, if you'd like to ask him more questions and have him do more chart analysis, you can always find him on his own YouTube channel. We dropped that link earlier, but you could subscribe to Extra Hot Forex to keep up with Kenzo. Totally free to do so, and great value over there available to you. So Kenzo, thank you very much for coming on the show and helping us out again with continuing to make the A1 Trading Show a more collaborative and helpful kind of show for traders all over the world. So thank you very much for tuning in today.
Thank you very much, man, and thanks to your viewers.
All right. Well, there we go, guys. We're going to go ahead and say goodbye to Kenzo for now, but he'll be back. Of course, we've got a lot of regular, participants who help make these shows possible. Speaking of which, we've got Marco joining us here for our next segment. We'll be taking a look at some more charts, having him do some more walkthroughs. So if you have charts that you'd like to take a look at, go ahead and load them up in the chat here while we run this quick break to set up the stream. We'll be right back with Marco just after this. We often get asked by our US viewers, how do you guys trade gold and indices on a regulated broker? To trade gold, indices, and more, we trade using Webull. And for US citizens watching now, for a limited time, you can get free stocks if you use our promo link that can be found in the description or dropped in the live chat right now. Webull is our top pick and personal choice when selecting a broker here in the United States for stocks, indices, and commodity trading specifically. Get your free stocks now by clicking the link and signing up using the instructions found there. Now, back to the show. All right, and we are back with Marco, who is, again, another one of our regular contributors. And good to see you, Marco. How you doing, man?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, and welcome back to the show. As I mentioned earlier to everybody who's listening, we bring on guests and hosts from all over the world, which is cool. We get a wide basket of different markets that we look at. It's kind of cool, Marco, just to watch back. I sometimes will just click through the A1 trading shows, like when I'm not at work, and I'll just be like, what happened today when I'm not, watching, or I'm like walking around doing something else. And it's just so cool because we have just people who trade a little bit of everything, FX,
Yep.
options, stocks. I mean, it's just really cool. So speaking of which, you've got your own watch list of things that you keep an eye on and your own unique trading strategy. What are you watching here today?
Yes, for today, I have the Aussie pairs on my radar. So for the Aussie and the US dollar, it's moving kind of in an ascending channel, and it's a pretty tight formation. So I'm expecting this to reverse in the opposite direction. If it does, I'll look for sell setups along the way to the downside. And a similar story is going to be for the Aussie and the Japanese yen, which is even cleaner. It is very, very ascending and also moving in a tight channel. So this is a telltale pattern that the price is going to drop very soon. Of course, it's not a guarantee, but
Sure.
it happens very, very often. And if it does happen here, I will look to sell on the pullbacks. And of course, first look for that large drop, that large signature right there. Other than that, all of the other pairs that are on the watch list are a bit sleepy, a bit flat and range bound. Pound has not been doing anything for the last couple of months. So yeah, only the Aussie pairs for me today. And I am currently backtesting gold, seeing how gold will do with my trending entries. And I found some interesting trades. So it's going good so far. I still have a couple of years left to backtest, but it's keeping me occupied in these more, I would say, quiet times.
Sure.
Yeah, for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm kind of the same way when it comes to quiet times. I'll sometimes just experiment and try out different things and strategies. So that's really cool. And yeah, I mean, gold is it has the potential at certain periods of time to trend incredibly, incredibly well. Like that breakout that we had earlier this year. I just wish I could have these types of moves all the time, Marco. It would make my life so much easier if I could just, I think I caught like a pullback within this on like a 4-hour chart, and I stayed in the trade for like 2 months. Like it just was so sweet because I remember putting a stop loss below this level. It never got hit. And then we entered another kind of huge second wave. And, with my trailing stop method, I was just kind of following this thing. And I daydream about that trade every once in a while because it was like the easiest thing for a little bit. And then we entered into a more challenging environment recently with gold, kind of back to choppiness, back and forth range, at least on the daily chart here. But
yeah,
I daydream for the day it comes back. So
was that your biggest trade in like the last year or so?
In this year, it definitely was. This was my biggest trade of 2024. My biggest trade of 2023 was that S&P 500 trade that I bought in like November. Like November 1st, I went long and I held it through the end of the year, which was, again, I've had a really good. So before we go into a bunch of charts, I'll just give you the kind of pros and cons of like my trading style. When I catch really big runners, it's awesome because like it ends up being a ginormous winner, and that pretty much like makes up all the losses and more. And that's pretty much how I make my money in the markets, is catching the huge ones that come up every once in a while. And then I give back or break even on a lot of trades that are just kind of back and forth movement. I've been fortunate in the last like 6 months. I've had a lot of like good big hit runners that have taken place, and I don't usually hit them that frequently, so it's been nice. I've had a good couple of good trades on oil shorts. Is another one that I had recently. So but as you know, and as we've discussed in the past, you have a style of trend following as well, where you also have like the big winners periodically, and then you give back some of those gains. Are you in more of a give back period, or have you had some runners recently? What are you looking at lately?
So for the last couple of weeks, it has been pretty range bound, but I'm employing the range bound entries basically. So an example would be this flat range. So I remember buying the lows right here. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now on the Euro US dollar and the Aussie US dollar, just trading the ranges. Here I'm also going to be looking at what will happen on the extremes. But for my training entries, they have been pretty quiet, pretty slow in the last month, I would say. But yeah, I'm the same as you. So I'm a trend trader. So most of my percentage comes from actually trend trading. But the win rate is a bit lower. So like I have 2 or 3 months in a year that are like rockstar months, and then the other months are a bit more quiet, where I do the range bound entry mostly.
Yep. Yeah, makes sense. I mean, if you're going to be a trend follower, a lot of people don't. They think they're a trend follower, but they don't really, accept the full. People will always say, "Oh, we'll trade with the trend," but truly trading with the trend oftentimes means like you take a lot of little losers and then you catch the big trend, and so your win rate becomes very small, but your risk reward becomes very good. So that's the pros and cons, I guess, laid out for you. But always interesting to hear what your thoughts are on which strategies you're using and which ones are performing well for you. You've got 2 different ones that I think are it's nice to have. I also have kind of a dual strategy, which helps to smoothen out some of the equity curve over time.
What's your second one? Could you go over that quickly?
Yeah. So with my second entry style, I'm more of a position trader. So I have like this trade on TLT, for example, which these are more they're not like short term at all. They're more like swing trades. Like they could last for a month, they could last for like 6 months even. But like TLT, mostly a fundamentals based decision. You'll see I don't have a stop loss on this, but I have a portion of my account dedicated to this position, which basically TLT goes up if yields fall, which yields would fall on rate cuts and things like that. So it's a bet essentially that bond values will go up because yields will drop. So, but in terms of my technical strategy, I'm usually looking for discounts in the market. So it's more mean reversion based. So I'm looking for things that are oversold or overbought. And in combination with fundamentals and trading them on a longer term perspective. I've had some really good trades on like the SMH. These are a lot of ETF trades that I take. So, I traded like SMH several times. I sold puts, which is how I enter the trades. So it's an options and fundamentals strategy, which, to be honest, Marco, is not very appealing on social media. People are like, "Oh, that sounds boring or too complicated or too slow." But it's been very, very consistent to smoothen out my equity curve over the years, and I continue to do it for that reason. So it is what it is.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, Marco, I'm going to, if you're okay with it, I'm going to leave you the show for a little bit just to take over and go through some charts. If you'd like to go through the chat and just kind of keep up to date with what people would like to look at. For audience members, if you have a chart request for Marco, please feel free to drop it in the chat. He'll be going through that, and we can just give him the floor for a little bit to go over some setups. Before I step out, you guys can subscribe to Marco on his YouTube channel at Marco's Trading Journey and keep up to date with what he's doing totally for free. Some great value over there. So Marco, you've got the show for a little bit, and I'll be back in just a bit.
Thank you. Yeah, see you in a bit.
All right, see ya.
See you. Okay, so let's continue with the stream. Any questions, any chart requests, any prop firm stuff, you can put it in the chat. I'll be going over my 6 Forex pairs and a couple of big instruments as well, and then we can do some requests. So for the euro and the US dollar, I am looking what is going to happen in the extremes of this range. Again, I have the trending entries and then I have the range bound entries. So I have identified a flat range right here. I'm going to be selling the top. I'm going to be buying the bottom as well. So let me set my alerts, which is something I forgot to do. So it's good to do it now. Okay, create, and the one on the bottom. I'm looking for at least like a minimum 3 pip break into these areas. Okay, so if it's like a 1 pip or 2 pip break, not really taking out liquidity, but 3 pips plus is going to be a good value for me. So that's the game plan for the euro and the US dollar, just looking for rejection of these areas. Moving on to the euro and the Japanese yen, pretty flat and range bound. So I'm only trading the range bound entries on the euro US dollar and on the Aussie US dollar. On the euro Japanese yen, I'm doing only the trending entries, and this is very flat, very corrective, very range bound. So I'm expecting more range bound price action. EU is going to be on the watch list. EJ is just not going to be on the watch list. And I'm expecting something like this to happen. Okay. Aussie US dollar. We just talked about it, but I'm going to repeat it. So I'm seeing an ascending channel right here. So that will be a part of my trending entries. Usually when you see an ascending channel like this, price reverses in the opposite direction and starts a downtrend like this. Okay, so that is what happens in most cases. Now, I do need a confirmation. I do need the large impulse going down, and then I'm going to be looking for a sell entry. Until I get the confirmation, I'm going to be more patient. Okay, so I need that drop. I need a big red candle confirming that the sellers have stepped in the market. So it is going to be on the watch list. Best option, to be honest, would be for this to continue a bit more. The bigger the ascending channel is, the stronger the downtrend is going to be. Okay, so if this does continue ascending, then it's going to be even better for it to drop in the opposite direction. Okay. Marco, have you had issues with trading psychology? How did you handle it? Yeah, definitely. I think every single trader has a lot of issues with trading psychology. One thing I would definitely recommend is the book The Mental Game of Trading by Jared Tendler. It's more of a workbook. So it's not really a book you read and then say, I have realized this, and this. It's a workbook where you need to write things down. You need to, let's say, work on your psychology. You need to keep a document open alongside of the book and really note down what mistakes you're doing in your psychology. So that's, I think, the best way to work on your psychology. The second best way is through experience. So for trading, as you go along and trade, as you increase your risk size, as you start trading real money, you're going to start noticing certain patterns, certain issues, certain problems with your psychology. And again, that book is going to help you to fix those issues and work through those issues. So you need to actually be live trading real money to know exactly where your issues lie. And experience is going to be the best teacher. So yeah, that is what I would say. Having experience, having patience, having persistence as well, not quitting. So when you have a hard time, not quitting immediately after it, but actually working through that hard time and seeing how you can improve in the future. So get that book, read it, work on it, and start trading live if you're ready, of course. And then start, again, working on your psychology actively as you are trading, as you're building up experience. Take on the Aussie US dollar. We just covered it. We're going to be moving to the Aussie and the Japanese yen. Euro US dollar, just looked at it. It's flat and range bound. I'm looking to sell the top and buy the bottom of the range. Okay. Aussie Japanese yen is looking very, very clean for me personally. It's looking very, very high probability to drop in the opposite direction. So I'm seeing a nice, clean, tight ascending channel right here. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a maybe for the price to ascend a bit more and then drop, and then for a sell setup, okay. Just move the light. And then, yeah, look for a confirmation, look to sell on a nice pullback, and then maybe get in some more sells as the price keeps dropping. If the price drops immediately, yes, I'll look for sells as well. If we get a big red candle, I'll look for a flag, simple flag, or a pullback, break of the low, retest of this level, nice continuation entry. So that's it for AJ, looking for bearish momentum. And I'm expecting this to drop, but I need a confirmation. This pair is definitely on the watch list. Pound US dollar, very flat, very range bound, okay? So very flat, very range bound. On this 1 hour chart, again, I'm only trading on the 1 hour chart, keeping it simple, freedom of time, not glued to the screen. Again, if you want to do a 5-minute or 15-minute, yes, you're going to get more trades. Yes, your equity curve is going to be more stable, like this, for example, while mine is going to be with bigger drops, I would say, in the equity curve. But you're not going to really have a freedom of time. With the 1 hour chart, you can do lots of other things and just check the charts on top of each hour on your phone or on the PC, execute a trade, close the charts, go on with your day. So it makes things easier and simpler, but there are some disadvantages as well, such as maybe waking up during the night. Yes, sometimes I do that as well. And not really taking a lot of setups during the week. I take around 1 to 3 trades on average per week, okay, and that is 4 to 12 trades per month. Those are the numbers. So yeah, GU is flat and range bound right here. And I'm expecting more range bound price action like this. What I'm looking for is just the trending entries, just looking for a large push up or a large impulse down like this. And I'm being more patient right here. It's not on the watch list, so let's move on to another pair. What is your thoughts on GU? Just covered it. AUD, NZD. Sure, let's take a look. AUD, NZD. Let's do OANDA data. Whoa, it's looking really nice. Damn, AUD, NZD is looking really trending. So this looks very clean, very nice, especially for trending entries. Let's zoom out a little bit. Okay, it's looking okay. So this is exactly what I'm looking for. Nice big legs of momentum going up. Really, really nice stuff. Again, here I would be looking for a break and retest entry, a retest of this level of this high right here. This is a nice pullback. Okay, so this is not a pullback because the highs are the same. So my indicator is wrong. I apologize for that. Okay, but maybe a flag would form. If a flag forms here, yes, I would be interested for buy setups. Again, I'm not trading this pair live, but just by looking at this price action, this looks very, very clean. First high, first low, second high, looking for the second low and the blue candle as the entry candle. Very simple stuff. But whoever requested this one, okay, Kasim, I would say this is very, very good. It's highly trending. It's showing a lot of bullish pressure. So this is kind of the perfect story if you're looking for buy entries. Now, that doesn't mean do a blind buy, but you need to follow your plan, execute according to your backtesting data and your trading edge. Again, if you have backtested this pair on minimum last 3 years or 100 trades and you know which setups, which price action works, then by all means go ahead and execute a setup here. Do you see a zone of strong resistance? So I make things very simple. I make things so that I'm not conflicted. The way I do it is only the 1 hour chart and I look at only the last 3 to 5 days of price action. So even if there are some resistance levels, such as maybe this one, or you can look at this one, I am not paying attention to them. I'm only looking at this window of price action, which is the last 3 to 5 trading days, okay? So only the 1 hour chart, only last 3 to 5 trading days works well for me. Okay, can you take a look at the correlation for gold and the S&P 500? As the S&P 500 continues in a strong uptrend, gold is rallying. So I see a huge opportunity that we can see a gold squeeze to new highs. I don't do correlations. I never look at it. I basically trade each instrument as it is completely separate. So I cannot really speak on that because I don't have any experience or any knowledge. GBP/JPY, your opinion for short term and long term? Sure. GBP/JPY. On this 1 hour chart, it's looking pretty flat. Yeah, really flat, really corrective. 4 hour, same story. Most of the JPY pairs are looking really flat, except the Aussie JPY. All the other ones that I personally look at are looking very corrective. So this is flat and range bound, and I would not touch it with a stick as a trend trader. As a range bound trader, maybe it's a different story. Okay. Your US dollar, my buy entry. You have a buy entry on EU. Maybe if we put it to the 4 hour. Yeah, I'm not sure which methodology you're using, but for me as a trend trader, I would not be in a position here. Again, maybe you have a different trading plan. Maybe you're trading the range. Not sure, but for me, I classify this price action on the 1 hour chart as flat and range bound. I'm looking to sell the top, buy the bottom. Okay, AUD NZD we just covered. I'm already in a buy, but I'm trying to decide on profit take level. Okay, well, it's up to you. It's your strategy, your trading edge. I cannot really help you. So you're in the AUD NZD buy. Okay, the NZD buy. Let's go back. What I do is I follow a simple stop loss, trailing stop loss management. The way it goes is as the price is going up, let's say I'm in a buy setup from this candle. Let's put, I don't know, 20 pips. I just keep moving the stop loss underneath these lows. Okay, so as the price goes up, I just keep moving the stop loss underneath the lows. Let's say this continues up a bit more, creates a couple of more lows. Just keep moving it until the trend is technically broken, until this happens. And the low is broken, then I'm out of the position. Right now, where would my stop loss be? Well, it would still be in its initial position. I would wait for this to break the high. And then for me, this level right here would be, or sorry, this one would actually be that swing low. So it would go something like this. Up, down, up. Okay. So again, this all needs to be tested. You need to backtest this approach. But what I recommend with a trending entry is always going to be a trailing stop loss, just moving the stop loss underneath the swing lows as the price keeps trending up. That's the simplest way to do it. And I would say it's very profitable. NAS 100, UK 100. Yeah, we'll take a look. Okay, let's do NAS. Okay, 1 hour. Look, for me, this is flat right here, but I would not really analyze NAS 100 on the 1 hour. 4 hour gives us a better story because we're in a heavy uptrend. I really like this price action. We have a big leg up here, big leg up here as well. Nice bullish momentum here. So I don't see any signs of stopping. Do I see any bearish selling pressure? No. I just basically see leg up, consolidation. Whoop. Leg up again, small consolidation. Let's put the rectangle. And again, another leg up right here and another consolidation. So the price, the momentum is telling me this wants to go up. I'm not seeing any big red candles. So this is a bullish story all day for me personally. Daily. Yeah, daily is looking extremely bullish as well. It's looking really nice. It just keeps crushing higher. So I see no signs of stopping. USD CHF. Yes. Let me just see something on the NAS. Okay, it's looking interesting. So USD CHF. Oh. Now this is looking interesting as well. On this 1 hour chart, it's not really flat and range bound. I'm seeing a big leg down right here. Even a flag formation. Yeah, a flag just formed. Is this blue or red? Okay, it's blue. So I'm seeing a nice strong push down, and I'm seeing a flag. First low, first high, second low right here, second high, and the red candle would be the entry candle for me personally. So this is looking high probability in my opinion, and I do like this price action. Seeing a bit of buying pressure, yes, that is correct, but still overall, I do like this for a sell setup. Would I take it? No, because I have not backtested this currency pair. Just by visually assessing it, I think this is in a nice, strong downtrend, and it's going to continue lower. If we bump it up to the 4 hour, yeah, still looks pretty good. Daily, yep, I like it. I like the selling pressure. So my bias is for this to go lower. Okay, we're going to take a look at gold. On this 1 hour chart, it's looking pretty flat and range bound right here. So I would be more patient. Again, I'm not trading it, but it's looking really flat and range bound. I would look for a large push up or a large push down like this. And silver, also very, very flat. Yeah, silver, we just got a request. So silver, very, very flat as well. I do not like this price action. Again, we had a nice uptrend before. Look at these legs. If we bump it up to the 4 hour, it's going to be a bit more clear. Yeah, it was looking like a very bullish scenario. We even had a nice flag right here. See? First high, first low, second high, second low. Can you please write the name of the book in the chat? Yep. So after this stream, I'll definitely write it in the chat, but it is The Mental Game of Trading by Jared Tendler. Okay, I'm going to write it up in the chat a bit later. This is a flag. Nice flag, nice uptrend before it. So yeah, they happen all over the place. But now current price action, very flat and range bound. So I would not touch this with a stick. Okay, next one is probably going to be the S&P. Yes, S&P moving higher. 1 hour chart, kind of range bound in the last couple of hours, but let's bump it up to the 4 hour. Just a very bullish scenario overall. No signs of stopping. The daily even better. Just this is very, very bullish. I'm not seeing any selling pressure, so I would expect more upside. So both the NAS 100 and the S&P 500 seem to just be crushing new highs and no sign of stopping, no sign of losing steam. Kind of goes well with the whole election in the US. I think Nick talks about it often. So usually you get a big pump right before election, which is, I believe, in November. I would not be surprised if this continues. Just by looking at the technicals and the pure momentum, there is no sign of stopping, which is good to see. We love trending markets. They usually push everything else with it as well. Okay, so next one is going to be Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just crushing lower, but to get the best picture, we need to bump it up to the daily. Yeah, it's in this range. There's no telling. No telling if it's going to go up or down. It's looking very flat in this area, but as Nick said, it's not really in the news. It's kind of losing steam. Bitcoin really needs to have the spotlight, needs to have the attention of, I would say, YouTubers, news outlets, and basically everyone online, and then it pumps. But right now, it's kind of stagnant in this range. So my eyes are on this level, and of course on the major high level. Okay, as we're in this range, there's no telling what is going to happen. So okay, USD CHF. Here's the CHF. 1 hour. We covered it. Yeah, we did. Okay, I get lost sometimes. But yeah, a bearish story for me. We have a strong downtrend right here. Nice flag formation. Not really a lot of buying pressure, so I'm expecting more downside on this 1 hour chart. USD CAD. USD CAD. Looking pretty flat and range bound in this area. Okay, so yeah, on this 1 hour chart, just not seeing much. Bump it up to the 4 hour. Same story, very flat and range bound. The daily also very, very flat. Not seeing anything positive for trend trading. Okay, US 30. Yeah. It's probably going to be pumping, right? No, not really. Okay, that's a surprise. 4 hour, pretty flat as well. The daily, yeah, just flat, just doing nothing. Doing nothing and being range bound. That is my analysis for the Dow Jones. Okay, then we still have something left. Let me check the watch list. We have the DXY, which we can quickly take a look at. So DXY, dollar index is pretty flat right here, but we need to bump it up to the daily at least. Yeah, pretty flat between the high and the low. 4 hour, just not moving anywhere. Stuck. Okay, did have a big pump here, but then it rejected heavily above this range. Now it's back in the range. Okay, US oil. Yeah, let's check out US oil. Whoa, looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. We had a really nice uptrend on this 1 hour chart. Really, really strong. Really nice. Bit of consolidation, but price continued. So I would say this has some more bullish steam to go. It's looking pretty high probability. 4 hour looks good as well. I like these legs of momentum. So yeah, it's looking nice. Breaking the high. This would kind of be a classic break and retest entry for me. Okay, so what I look for is an uptrend. Small pullback, break of the high, retest of the high. So I would look for a retest of this level right here. That would be something that I trade like this. Nice stop loss. Then it hits the pending order, bounces off, continues straight trending. So yeah, that's the methodology behind it. The daily is gonna look a bit rough, yeah, but I am seeing a pattern of a V reversal and a range. Okay, so I'll not be surprised if this does continue to the upside like this. Okay, that is the story for US oil. And again, V reversal is the same thing as a cup and a handle, which can be the same thing as a inverse head and shoulder pattern. Yeah, so basically it's all about building up pressure until we finally break the high and start an uptrend like this. Just pure patterns, pure price action patterns. Euro Aussie short bias. Let's take a look at it. Euro Aussie. Okay, this one on the 1 hour chart. Yep. Yeah, we're going to take a look at the daily chart. Sure. But first, I'm going to start from the 1 hour. So let's see what we can spot. I am seeing a downtrend. So I'm focusing on the last 3 to 5 days of price action, and I am seeing a good downtrend right here. Yes, starting to see some buying pressure, kind of broke the high here, broke the structure. But this may continue lower. So my bias is for this to go down. 4 hour looks pretty nice. I like this impulse going down. I like this. Yes, double wicks on the bottom, but still seeing no major buying pressure. So I will not be surprised if this does continue lower. And the daily, you wanted the daily. Well, the daily kind of hasn't moved far away from this whole structure. So yeah, I would say there is a bearish bias in my personal opinion. I do not like this blue candle, but I think we can continue lower. 4 hour looks the best, or no, sorry, 1 hour looks the best. Okay, that's about it for Euro Aussie. Gold, next entry signal. So for gold, I don't have a signal for you because I do not do signals, but it's looking really flat in my personal opinion. Okay, gold is looking really flat and range bound, really corrective in this area. So I would personally be a lot more patient on gold. Okay, on this 1 hour chart. 4 hour looks flat as well. The daily is looking really, really flat. Again, we did have a strong uptrend, which was looking nice. Now we're pausing here. Now we are being a bit flat in this area. Okay. What I do want to show you on gold is something I'm currently backtesting. If I can just find the entries, is this thing. Okay, so this is perfect for my trading style. This is what I look for. It doesn't happen often. Again, it happens maybe twice per year on gold. At least that's what I saw, maybe twice or 3 times per year. But when it does happen, then it usually just explodes up or down. Okay, so I'm looking for these momentum legs and then for these quick flag formations, quick flag pullbacks to buy. Same one happened here. See a big buying pressure. Absolutely perfect. I see 0 warning signs with this price action, and then price just continues higher. So that is something I'm currently backtesting, and it's looking pretty nice, pretty promising. Again, doesn't happen often, but when it does produce some nice percentage. But that's kind of with most Forex pairs as well. They don't trend most of the year, at least trend in a nice manner, because most of them do move in this manner, I would say, very correctively, sort of in an ascending channel, which is not really my trading style. It's not how I trade, so I cannot really exploit that price action. But I like to stick with the clear-cut examples of momentum, such as here, and then for nice quick entry setups. And if you compare this price action to the most recent price action, you can see a big, big difference. This is not moving anywhere. So when you ask, what does it mean that it's flat? This is flat, okay? Means it's range bound, means the trending entries probably are not the best to execute, and it means if you're a trend trader, I would be more patient. That is what I mean when I say it's flat. It's range bound, it's corrective, it's not moving up, it's not moving down, it's stagnating in a level. Euro US dollar, yeah, we can quickly go over EU again. I didn't mention it already, but let's cover it again. For me, it's flat and range bound, and I'm looking to buy the lows, sell the top, trade this range bound price action. Okay, that is what is on my game plan.
Hey, Marco.
Yep.
I didn't want to make you feel like you had to keep going. Nick got called away to his podcast, so he wasn't able to come back.
No, that's okay. That's okay. We do have a lot of requests, so it could last for days.
That's true. Yeah, it's impossible to get to all of them. But we want to thank you for coming on a Wednesday. I guess we'll see you tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for coming on and covering all these things.
Yeah, no worries. It was fun. And I'm gonna write down that name of the book that I was talking about. So yeah.
Oh right, yes. Are you gonna put that in the chat?
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the chat. I just need to log into my account, so I'm gonna put it a bit later. Or should I do it now since the stream is still live?
Yeah, you can do it now if you want. That'd probably be good, and then I can click on it, put it on the show.
Yeah, let me quickly open it up on my browser. So live stream.
Yeah, I saw people asking about that. The book title.
So, Game of Trading. Jared Tendler. Yep.
There it is.
It's in there. Yep.
All right. By Jared Tendler. Okay. All right, guys. So, yeah, for those of you who were asking about the book, there you go. Go search that up.
It's a great book.
All right. Well, Marco, thanks for coming on. I'm going to put your YouTube in the chat one last time, and I guess we'll see you tomorrow at our regularly scheduled program.
Yeah, definitely. See you tomorrow. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Marco.
Thank you. Goodbye.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining the show. That was a good one. We had a lot of people on. We've kind of recently been getting a lot of our guests to just kind of hop on whenever they feel, and it's been very valuable. They share a lot of cool information. So, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Be sure to subscribe. Go check out the guys who are on the show today, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for tuning in to today's A1 Trading Show. Make sure to subscribe and to turn on post notifications so you don't miss the next one. Also, we're looking for more guests to come on the show. If you're comfortable being on camera, have trading experience, and you're looking to grow your audience exposure, we'd love to have you on. In the live stream chat and description below, we'll drop a link to apply to be a live stream guest and join in on the conversation. We hope to have you on soon. That's all for today. Trade safe, and we'll see you next time.